So previously we just uh imported pandas, but we did not use an alias on pandas. So an alias is kind of like a nickname for a library that you are importing. So in order to give it an alias, we're gonna type as pd after import pandas. So let's run the code if it worked. And when you want to call a specific function from pandas, there's no need to type the entire word pandas anymore. So example, you want to read a CSV file. Instead of typing read CSV, the only thing that you need to do is actually just type in pd read CSV, and this one on the bottom, the code on the bottom will work perfectly well. So that's for the alias for pandas. So always take note of that. It's not it's not required to use an alias for the libraries, but it makes your code much easier to look at, and it makes writing the code much more simple, and offers kind of like the common practice when it comes to codings in data science. So let's learn about series. So a series is kind of like a column in a table. So of column is the vertical part of a table, and it's only one dimensional, and it can hold any type of data like floating numbers, strings, and integers. You can put anything you want in a series. So I'm going to make here a list. So this one is a list. Okay, I'm just gonna change the numbers. So this one is a list. And we want to change this list into a series. So I'm gonna type here series equals to, so we're going to use this code pd dot series a. So before we used pandas on the first part, but now we're only gonna use pd because we used an alias. So let's check if this one is actually a series by printing out the type. And it says here it is a series. So let's print the series. And here you can see there that they are printed in a vertical form, kind of like a table. So 1, 2, and 3. And they have their labels, their index 0, 1, and 2. Because when counting, you have to start with 0, not with 1. So that is a series. And then then we will know about labels. So a label it's kind of like the index. It's the index, the 0, 1, and 2. So that's the label. So if we wanted to print out the first value of the series, we can use the label. So the label for 1 is 0. If I wanted to print out 1, I can just type in here print series 0. So it was able to print out 1. So if I wanted to print out 2, I'm just gonna put the number 1 instead. So that is a label. So if you wanted to create a label for your if you want to create a label for for your for your series, you can actually just insert a parameter here by putting the index argument, and then putting in the labels that you want. So example, for number 1, you want to put a label for A, and number 2, it's going to be letter B, and then for number 3, it's going to be letter C. Let's run the code if it worked. So it worked, and let's print the series. So previously it said the labels here were 0, 1, and 2, but now it is 1, 2, and 3. So that is for assigning the labels. So if you wanted to print out the first one, the first variable in the series, you can actually just, instead of using 0, 1, or 2, you can put here can put here the label. So A is assigned to 1. So print in the when you print in the label A from the series, it will print out 1 over here. Okay, next we will be learning about and keys and values. We will be keys and values and also turning a dictionary into a data frame and also turning a dictionary into a series. So we all know what a dictionary is. So we're going to use this as an example. I'm going to create a sample dictionary here. So, oops, I typed in the wrong colors equals to. So in a dictionary, it uses uh this kind of bracket. So let's say red is equals to 1 and green is equals to 2 and then blue is equals to 4. So we have a dictionary there. Let's run the code to test if okay, it works. So it's the dictionary has already been initialized. So let's turn this dictionary into a series before we move on to changing it into a data frame. Let's talk about the series first. So series, let's use the code that we used earlier. Okay, so the code worked and let's print the series. And see, we can see here one. Oh, I was able to type 4 instead of 3. My bad. So we have red, green, and blue, and then those are the labels, and then their values are 1, 2, and 3. So the code worked perfectly. So that is one way to change it in to add an index. So you don't need to create a series and then add in the argument to create an index. What you can actually do there to make it cleaner, a better way to do it is actually just using a library and turning that library into a series. So it automatically identifies which one is the label and which one is the value. So uh to so this one is the key and this one is the value. So these are the keys and these are the values. And next.